All right, our friends at ESPN have come up with another list. This is the offseason. This is where we do list. This time, top 10 college football head coaches, right? Pretty good list. I agree with some, disagree with some. I'm going to break it down. But first, let's go through it, right? Obviously, number one is Kirby Smart. Everyone agrees. Whether you're a Georgia fan, Georgia Tech fan, that's the very few Georgia Tech fans out there. Florida, Tennessee, everyone knows Kirby Smart is number one. He's the top dog leading the top program in college football. Easy number one, everyone agrees. Number two, I'm going to go down the list and then I'm going to talk about it. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama, number two. Very good coach. I don't know if he's number two. I'll get to that in a second. Kyle Whittingham at Utah, number three. Very good coach. I get it. Number three. Dabo Swinney, number four. The Tigers are kind of going down. It's not a steep drop, but they're not where they were. He's not the same coach he was a few years ago, in my opinion. He refuses to adapt. I'm going to get into all this. Whatever. Dabo Swinney, number four. Mike Norvell, Florida State, number five. Dan Lanning, Oregon, number six. Steve Sarkisian, Texas, number seven. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, number eight. Lance Leipold at Kansas, number nine. Ryan Day at Ohio State comes in at number 10. First off, that's crazy. I know everyone likes to make fun of Ryan Day. It's easy, right? He took over a program with all this talent and hasn't won a national championship with them then. I think one's coming. Could be this year. This is a year where they probably need to. They are loaded. But 3 straight losses to Michigan. Just kind of losing in the big games, the way they lost to Georgia a couple years ago. I still think everyone still remembers how they lost. And now he did a bad job of coaching in that game. There's no doubt about it. He got outcoached by a mile by Kirby Smart and his staff in that fourth quarter. But number 10, really? I think he's better than that. It's not about just in-game coaching, right? The coaches aren't the ones dropping the balls or throwing the picks or missing tackles. Their job is to build a program, and Ryan Day is still building Ohio State. I mean, the talent they're bringing in. Again, you have to talk about recruiting in this as well. That's half the job, bringing in the talent, scouting, finding good players that fit your program, developing those players into the players that they should be, right? That you think they could be. Recruiting's half the battle, and Kirby knows that. I know that. I cover recruiting. The teams that recruit the best, more often than not, win. And Kirby Smart has proven that. Ryan Day has a lot of talent. He knows how to recruit. And I think he's better than number 10. There are 9 coaches better than Ryan Day, according to ESPN. I'm going to disagree there. Lane Kiffin at number 8. Dude's got to be higher. Lane Kiffin is one of the best coaches in college football. I still can't believe Florida has not grabbed him. I thought when Florida's had multiple openings for the head coaching job, I said, man, this is where they're going to go get Lane Kiffin, huh? Lane Kiffin is going to bring that offense. He's going to bring a quarterback to Gainesville. He is the guy that could turn that program around quickly. It looks like it's a kind of a tough job when you've got coach after coach after coach coming through and they're not doing anything. Billy Napier's going to go at the end of this year. That schedule is brutal. They're going to have a bad record. But Lane Kiffin could turn that place around. The way he uses the transfer portal, the way he recruits, his offensive style of play, the ability to put a really well-run staff together. He can recruit. In the portal, in-game adjustments. Lane Kiffin is a very good coach, and he's a lot better than number 8. What he's been able to do at Ole Miss has been very impressive. And he would be a monster at the University of Florida. Just my opinion. Steve Sarkisian, number 7. I'm okay with him right there. Maybe it feels like he should be higher, but he's not yet. He's not yet for me. He's got to win some bigger games. Getting to the playoff that's nice. That's a step forward for them, and that's a very good year. Now, they lost to Washington, which was so funny. It really was. But this is a very successful season for Texas. If their fans are upset, I don't get it. They get an A. They get an A. Everyone talks about Texas being back. Texas has been back because they've been winning like 9-10 games the past few years, right? Them winning a national championship is more than back. They're not back when they win a national championship, because they have won in the last like 40 years. Are you kidding me? They have 2005, but before then, I think you have to go back to the 70s. So winning a national championship is not the standard. That's not the expectation. Competing for one is not the standard or the expectation at Texas. They still have a long way to go. So in my opinion, when everyone's talking about, oh, Texas is back, they've been back. They went from completely irrelevant, really bad program to somewhat relevant and winning 9 to 10 games. That's good. That's good for Texas. Those people can think differently, but from an outsider's view, and I think from across the country, that's a good team. If Texas wins 9 or 10 games, that is a successful season for them. And that's the truth. They can think that's crazy, but it's not. Texas has been back because they're good. They're not great. They're good. But getting to the playoff, that was massive. That was huge. Even though they choked and lost to Washington, it was still a very good season. But number 7, okay, Dan Lanning at number 6. Love my guy Dan Lanning. He still a coach on the rise, and he's going to do big things at Oregon. I think he's going to stay there for a while, playing with the big boys now. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State is not a big boy. No one cares about Penn State outside of Pennsylvania. And yeah, those people move away and they move down south because no one wants to live in Pennsylvania. So occasionally I'll see some Penn State flags flying, but they're irrelevant. They don't matter. They don't win big games. They don't score points. They're boring. They're vanilla. And there's a reason James Franklin is nowhere near this list. Dude barely makes the top 50 head coaches in college football. That guy is a complete fraud. That program is fraudulent. And I'm so glad that he wasn't forced into this top 10. But Dan Lanning at number 6, I like it. Oregon's up. Clemson's on the down slope. Oregon is up. Texas is, we'll see. Where was it? Mike Norvell. So we're going from 10 up now. I kind of confused myself. You might be confused now. But I started with Ryan Day. Then Lance Leipold, very good coach at Kansas. He's not going to be there forever. That's a tough program to turn around. See, now I'm going back and forth. He was number 9. Lane Kiffin 8. Steve Sarkisian 7. Dan Lanning 6. Mike Norvell 5. Really? Mike Norvell 5? I don't see it. I know he's done a good job at Florida State. He's done a very good job. But he still needs to build a better culture and a winning environment there before you say he's a top 5 coach in college football. Get real. I like him. I think he's a good coach. And he's going to keep Florida State relevant. There's no doubt about it. And he can recruit, and he uses the transfer portal well. But he's got to build a better culture and environment at Florida State. You can't have half your players just quitting on the team because they got their feelings hurt by the committee. And it can't happen. And that's not happening at Georgia. And it shouldn't happen at a place like Florida State, but it is. Dabo Swinney at number 4 is mind-boggling to me. I think he needs to be several spots lower. He's just not adapting, and he's not getting in with the transfer portal. He's not a big NIL guy. He's telling commits, hey, we don't want you visiting anywhere else. It's just, he's too old school, and it's going to make things worse for him at Clemson. Clemson's not going to get any better, in my opinion. I do think he also treats the offensive line kind of like Mark Richt did. It's not important to him as much as maybe other positions, especially on the recruiting trail, and that's hurt him too. They have not had a good offensive line in several years now, and which is crazy. If Dabo Swinney watched my videos, he would be a better coach at Clemson, because everyone knows it starts in the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line, that's where you win ball games. And yes, you have to have quarterback, you have to have weapons, but it's still a game in the trenches. And while they do normally have a very good defensive line, the offensive line is still going to be a major weakness for this team, I think, this fall. Good luck with Kirby's Dogs game 1, Dabo. But Dabo Swinney at number 4, I don't know about that. Kyle Whittingham at number 3, I think he might be a top 5 coach. Number 3, Utah's very respectable program. They win a lot of games. They're tough to beat at their place. A lot of talent. Number 3, though, I don't know about that. Kalen DeBoer, number 2, he's a winner, and he can build a program, and he can recruit. He's a very good offensive mind. He's won everywhere he's been, but number 2 is a little high for a guy who he needs to do it at a big program like Alabama, and he's gonna do good at Alabama. I do. I think he can win a national championship there. He's gonna keep them extremely relevant and in the hunt. Might be a struggle year one, as it is for most people, but Kalen DeBoer, number 2, I don't know about that. I got to see more of it before I believe he's the second best coach in college football. So this is a very pro-Alabama list, I tell you what. But he's very good. Number 2, I don't know. You can read more about this over on Dawg Post, but it's just an off-season list. We love to talk about him, but obviously Kirby Smart is number 1. The Dogs are number 1. They might win another national championship this year. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you on the website, and see you over there.